This is a Cajun pasta dish that's absolutely fantastic and a really quick fix. You'd pay like 25, 30 bucks for this out at a restaurant, save some dough, make it at home, and it's fantastic. So sip of coffee and we're gonna get to work on recipe number 1. This recipe, as I mentioned, has shrimp in it, so a great way to kind of stretch that shrimp dollar is serve it with pasta. And yet, I'm always trying to save a buck or two. My recipes are, you know, I'm not a chef. I'm just a cooking mom, So this is just a great way to stretch that seafood dollar. And we're doing some linguine. Fettuccine would work. Spaghetti would work. Just kind of whatever you have in your pantry is going to work. You don't have to go out and run and buy anything special. Season that water with a little bit of salt. And we'll let it kind of hang out and do its thing. Being that it's linguine, and that's one of the reasons I chose linguine, it's a pretty quick cook. You know, it's thinner. Unlike fettuccine, is going to take a little bit longer. Angel hair cooks up in minutes, so if you really want to get dinner on the table in a hurry, that's a great one. Okay, so I'm heating my skillet, which I think got a little bit too hot, so I'm going to pull it off. And I've got some andouille sausage. Andouille sausage used to be a little bit hard to find, but now you can get it right at the grocery store. I know they've got it right at Festival. And it's already pre-cooked, but we're going to fry it up a little bit because we're going to get some great drippings. It's basically a smoked sausage with a little bit of a kick to it, but don't be scared. It's not super spicy. So once we kind of just cut it into pieces, we'll get it in our pan, and we're going to get a little color on it, which is going to give this dish some nice flavor. So just one big link of andouille sausage. Fell in love with andouille sausage when I was lucky enough to go to New Orleans when the Packers, well, I've been there a couple times, but the first time I was there was when the Packers were in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know, I'm dating myself. Oh, that was a trip I will never forget. What fun. Didn't actually get to go to the game, but still just being there, it was like a mini Green Bay at that time. So many people came down for it. So all over the French Quarter, you'd run into people you knew. It was pretty cool. Or people with Packer sweatshirts, and you got to know them really quickly. And then the players were all out at the restaurants, so it was just a cool experience. It was my first time in New Orleans, and wow, did I fall in love with that town. I've since been back one time, but I want to go back again. But you just pretty much eat your way around New Orleans, and so much great food. The last time I went on a gumbo tour. I just kept trying to, you know, go to different places and order the gumbo. I created it and was just trying to, you know, see which one I liked the best, which is kind of a fun thing to do. And most gumbo, of course, has andouille sausage in it. So, all right. And very, very lean. The stuff you get in New Orleans has a little more fat, so you're going to get a little more drippings, but this is still going to have some great flavor. So my favorite gumbo so far, and I've probably been to about 12 different places for it in New Orleans, is definitely Paul Prudhomme's. No question. K. Paul's restaurant. The best. And I actually had the opportunity to cook with them, and they do it in the same cast iron skillet that I've always done it with, the same recipe, not fancy, but definitely the best for sure. Okay, so at this point I'm going to get that sausage out of the pan into a plate, and because it is so lean, if you get a little more drippings, you don't need to do this step, but I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil and start cooking my veggies. It's still going to have some nice flavor, but I'm going to need a little bit of oil to get the veggies going. So onion, this is the holy trinity, as they call it in New Orleans. Celery. Pepper. Probably don't need all of that pepper. And I'm going to do 2 kinds of pepper, red and green, just for a little color. In New Orleans, they pretty much, the trinity is the bell pepper, but I thought this dish could use a little bit of color, so. I love red pepper. It's really good for you, and I try and put it in recipes all the time. Salads, you name it. We're still putting together details on our next big night out, by the way. It's coming up in the Valley. We're headed to a restaurant there November 4th. Abby, my producer, promises me details. We'll be coming on that very, very soon. Our last big night out was so much fun. It was jam-packed. If you were there, you know how much fun it was. Basically, every month or so, we go to a different area restaurant, and they pull out all the stops and do several courses paired with wines. And the last one, we were at a place called Christopher's in Manitowoc, and it was unbelievable, over the top good, really, really yummy. Okay, how's our pasta doing? I don't want to overcook it. Told you, linguine is a very quick cook, so I'm just going to get it out of the pan. We're going to be adding this back to the pan to coat it with sauce, so I like to undercook it a little bit, and then it's going to sit in this colander, and it'll really continue cooking there because it's real hot. Just like when you pull cookies out of the oven and they continue to cook on the baking sheet, same idea. Okay, at this point I'm going to add a little bit of butter, and talked about stretching that seafood dollar. This is about a pound of peeled, deveined shrimp. Buy it frozen. I buy it in the 2-pound bags. Whenever those bags of shrimp go on sale, I stock up, get a couple of them for my freezer. Then you can just pull out shrimp when you want it, a little bit at a time. But even if you just did a half of a pound, even a quarter pound of shrimp, it would be fine in this recipe. I'm just going to get that shrimp in there with the veggies, and I want to season it with some Cajun seasoning. Now, it's up to you how spicy you want to do this. So, and do we want it spicy? I think we need a little more heat. Greg, my director, says he wants it a little more spicy. All right. We'll do a little more spicy. It's up to you how hot you want to make this. And different Cajun seasonings are spicier than others. That one I could tell had a little bit of a kick to it. So it's, be careful. Start with a little, you can always add more. They make all these different Cajun seasoning blends in the, that whole spice aisle of your grocery store, and all those Cajun seasonings are not created equal. Some are hot, some are just more flavorful. So we just want to cook these until they on one side for about 30 seconds or so, then get them over to the other side. Turn up the heat. And then we're going to kind of finish this dish. My daughter, Ireland, is a huge shrimp lover, and every time we go out to a restaurant, she's off the kiddie menu. That was not a happy day in my house. No. Boy, that kid's menu was nice. And all of a sudden now she only does, the adult menu, and of course goes right for the shrimp. And I have to bring her back down and say, no, we're going to just do sandwiches tonight, or can we split? So anyway, I do try and do shrimp at home so she can get her shrimp, but we don't go broke getting her shrimp. So this is a good one, and it's a quick fix. Something a little special to do on the weekend. Sometimes on the weekend, it's nice to actually stay in, do a date night in. So this would be a fun thing to do. And this is one of the more popular items you're going to see at, on the menu at different restaurants. These Cajun pasta dishes. So in goes our garlic, and that garlic goes for about 30 seconds. Keep it moving around, and then we're done. Now we're going to add heavy cream. We love our Lamer's heavy cream. This is the it's the richest, thickest heavy, well, you'll see. Look at how it pours out. This is some serious heavy cream action here. If you're gonna do it, might as well do it. This is local dairy. We love their milk. We love their heavy cream. Everything they do is wonderful. Okay, so this is a pint of heavy cream. And we're gonna add some dried basil, and when it heats up a little bit, we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. So lots of great different flavors going on here. We're going to throw our sausage back in, and any drippings that have accumulated on that plate. Again, that's great flavor. And when it starts to simmer, in just a second, I'll get to work on chopping up my scallion. It's going to thicken very, very quickly. So now it's starting to just come to a boil. We're going to add our Parmesan cheese. This is about half of a cup, quarter to half a cup of Parmesan cheese. And that's going to tighten up the sauce and really make it rich and wonderful. Oh, you could smell this at home. If you, again, want to make this a little more spicy, you want to get a little more kick to it, this is when you could add a little bit of hot sauce if you wanted, a couple dashes of hot sauce. So you kind of have like an Alfredo, Cajun Alfredo cream sauce going on here. Okay, now let's take our pasta. Get that in here. Toss this together. The Better Half show, by the way, is back on Friday, and it's going to be really, really fun. We're thinking pink on that show, too. Cooking up a storm, doing some really fun recipes with the ladies. So make sure and watch The Better Half on Friday. If you haven't been watching that, getting into the routine of it, the ladies are back, and they're raring to go for this new season. They have been a lot of fun. Okay. So here's our pasta dish. And I'm going to plate it up, little scallions on top, and let me tell you, this one is a winner. We'll put the recipe on our website. You can also pick it up in any area Festival Foods.